Alright guys, so I promised you a part 2 to the gameplay first look discussion video that I made literally yesterday, okay? So for those of you that haven't watched that video yet, be sure to check out part 1, and then once you're done with that video, be sure to come right back for part 2, because I still have plenty of things to say about the 21-minute gameplay first look footage that EA Sports had shown us yesterday, okay? So that being said, the first thing I've noticed off rip was the UI interface, okay? The menu, how it looks in the game, I like it. I like the UI interface. That alone proves that EA Sports has taken their dedicated time. They've taken enough time in their lives to put 11 plus years of hard work, okay? They have to put 11 plus years of hard work. That UI interface is completely different, albeit modern, but still, I like how it looks in this game. And like I said before in the previous video, I like the presentation. Thankfully, they showed the mascot and the cheerleaders and the fans in the stands this time around. I like how they, gave a little bit more screen time to those aspects of the presentation in this very game. I believe that was one thing that I thought was missing at one point in the first half of the video, but thankfully they showed more of the presentation here, and that's a good sign, okay? And so, College Football 25, what else do they have to show? Well, during the gameplay for Game 2, which was between Michigan versus Penn State this time, they switched teams, except for Donovan Edwards. That boy stayed true with his team. He stayed true to Michigan, and so he picked Michigan for the second time, in which I don't blame him, okay? I'm not gonna lie to you. And so, here we go. We got more abilities ahead of us as far as the gameplay goes. The mental abilities return. We got two different ones this time. The first one that I saw was this mental ability called the Platinum Pocket Disruptor, which allows the player to moderately increase composure gains on the road. So I'm guessing if you're playing on the road, throughout the course of the game, this mental ability can actually increase your composure gain, in which you can put more pressure on the home team while you're on the road. I'm guessing if you're the opponent team or whatever the case may be. I'm not sure. All of this sounds brand new to me, and so that's how you know I've been missing out for 12 years, okay? It's been 12 years since I've known all of this stuff for college football, and so EA Sports has to put the most amount of precise, detailed abilities on the game for me to try to, figure out what can work and what doesn't. And so it's a lot more complex than it sounds, especially how I'm describing it, but I'm just calling it how I'm seeing it, okay? Let's just put it that way. And then on top of that, there was another mental ability called the Road Dog, in which this one ultimately increases the composure gains while on the road. And so in this case, I'm guessing that this could apply to certain players who are able to access that type of playstyle or whatever. And so I'm guessing this applies the same way to the Platinum Pocket Disruptor ability that I just mentioned already. And so hypothetically speaking though, I am strictly guessing that there are many abilities out there that can impact the way you play or change the way you play depending on the situation and depending on where you're playing, whether you're at home or on the road. So that could be something to look forward to, especially if you're playing against a stronger team on the road. In this case, you have the Road Dog ability and the Platinum Pocket Disruptor ability, whatever it's called, to where you can use that to your advantage. Okay, so there's another thing I forgot to discuss in the last video, but thankfully I found it here in this part of the 21-minute gameplay footage. And so one of the developers in the gameplay footage discussed something about coach vision, in which Bordeaux, in this case, pulled the left trigger. He pressed the left trigger. What am I even saying? He pressed the left trigger on the PS5. They're playing the PS5 version, mind you, if you didn't know. And so he pressed it, and it brings up this mini menu on the bottom right corner of the screen, in which it gives you 4 different options to choose from. Meanwhile, it also shows you a bar at the bottom, right below the player's names, if you guys look closely. Now, there are 2 bars, okay? You got a blue bar and a red bar. and so I couldn't tell exactly which bar is good and bad, you know, just by looking at it. But one of those developers in particular throughout the footage said something about the composure for Penn State in this case was not looking good. Now, those are his words, okay? Those are his words, not mine. But anyway, in the footage from what I saw, while, you know, the Penn State team was on offense, since their composure was quote-unquote not looking good, and so something was bound to happen on their behalf. And so in the footage, the quarterback for Penn State, I don't know his name exactly, but that guy ended up getting sacked by number 55 on Michigan. I'm guessing from the amount of pressure that the defensive side of Michigan was giving to Penn State, and so therefore he got sacked, and so number 55 took the ball instead and he went on for the touchdown. And so that is how I know that the composure was supposedly not looking good, because, you know, the defensive pressure from Michigan was increasing a lot more as time went on during the gameplay. And speaking of which, I've heard one of the biggest takeaways to learn from in this game while watching the footage back is that one of these developers said something about, you know, the fact that particular abilities can only apply to particular archetypes, in which different player builds, if that's the case, can gain access to certain abilities here and there throughout the game. And so I feel like that was a smart decision on EA's behalf, because, you know, in this particular case of a football game, we always like to make builds that cater to our liking, right? And so we become extremely creative with making our player builds the way we want, you know, making our archetypes the way we want and stuff like that. But not everybody deserves to be overpowered. And so I get it. Not all archetypes gets access to all of the abilities in the game from the jump, because certain abilities can like cater so much to a different player archetype in this case. And so, you know what? I get it. I really do, because I feel like at this point these days, it's somewhat super important to balance these players, to balance the way they play, so everyone can feel extremely unique from one another, okay? Anyway, back to the footage. Then, for some apparent reason, I saw that this takeoff physical ability, so I'm guessing mental ability is just one of the different abilities in this game. So there are pretty much more than one ability to choose from. But in this case, takeoff, from what I saw in the gameplay footage, this guy, I forgot who was the ball carrier in this case, but this dude legit caught the ball after receiving it, and then once he used the takeoff ability, he straight up ran towards the end zone. I'm guessing if you're like a receiver type of player, you might get an extra boost off of that ability alone. I'm not too sure, but it says here that takeoff, the physical ability, offers a moderately quicker release off the line when not being pressed. So how I'm envisioning about using this ability is the way that if you're a receiver, if you have enough space when you're not being pressed by the defensive end of the opponent team, you can like create your own gap to where it gives you an extra boost if you're all the way open. So that way you can just run off to any type of route that you chose, and then you can get a quick step off, as they called it, after the play starts. And so now I'm gonna be the first one to say it. Probably this takeoff ability here can obviously be one of the most overpowered abilities in the entire game. I'm calling it right now. If you are planning to create an offensive build, or in this case a receiver for this game, I guarantee these people will straight up abuse this takeoff ability. I know I'm not the only one thinking this, because I can clearly see it right now since I'm thinking about it already. The takeoff ability is going to be one of the most overpowered abilities in this entire game once the game comes out. I am calling it. I am booking it right now, son. But anyway, I'm just rambling off about a bunch of nothing. So back to the footage. Like I said, I am liking what I'm seeing. I enjoyed pretty much every second of it thus far, and you know, they've pretty much showed just about enough of this game up until this point, because I guarantee they are going to show just a tad bit more in the coming days throughout this whole week, because they promised to show more about this game and give us more info on CFB 25 right now. And so of course I have to bring you guys more content on the matter, so that's why I'm here. That's exactly what I'm here for, to give you more content, to deliver you the content that you deserve, my people. And so College Football 25, they have done it again, but we cannot be sure just yet because the game isn't out right now. But all we can do is cross our fingers and hope that this game is genuinely a good product, so that way we can like actually rise up again after a whole decade of waiting. And so we'll see eventually, but you guys let me know down below in the comment section, what do you think about this gameplay footage that we've all witnessed until now? Like this video if you enjoyed it, share this video with your friends, and if you're new to the channel, please be sure to hit the subscribe button. It would help me out a lot, and turn on notifications. We're almost at 1.3k subs. Let's keep it going, people, throughout the summer of 2024. With that being said, it's been Viral, and I am signing out. I hope you guys enjoy your day, and please take care. Peace, people.